that brought me to a neurologist who, we did a couple of MRIs, figured out what was going on in my head. And then we said, okay, that's okay. It's not causing any problems. They didn't really ask me a lot of questions. And then a couple of years later, I was wrestling and I got a hit to the head, passed out on the mat, got taken off, went back to that same neurologist. They said, okay, we're going to send you to a neurosurgeon. When I started talking to the neurosurgeon about all this, they started, you're supposed to be able to feel this. And like when you look side to side pretty quickly, does that hurt? I thought that was supposed to hurt. Same thing with no pain, no gain. Like when I was working out really hard, my head would just hurt. I thought it was supposed to. But so we found out that that wasn't the case. I had surgery, fixed it. Pretty much what they did is they took a little bit of skull at the bottom, took it out. My brain had more room to rest in. And, I since then have been completely fine. I wrestled in college for a little bit, no symptoms, overall I'm pretty good.
And Jeff and Melissa, this kid is so damn funny because you ask him what happened, the first thing he's going to do is he's going to tell you, well, just to let you know, I'm smarter than you. I loved it. He was like, because my brain is so much bigger than yours, I was like going, and he was like going, no, man, I'm kidding. I'm like, no, that you are. There's no doubt about that. You are. You got me. But yeah, and Alex, now what do you have to deal with now? Are there still headaches? Are there still anything that comes of it?
I wouldn't even say headaches. Every now and then, like it's difficult to describe. Like you feel that there is something. Like when I've had like a long day, haven't taken a nap all day and have just kind of been woke up at 8 in the morning, worked at 9 to 5, then had to do something else at 6, and then hopped on here. Like the longer the day, the more things you've done, the more you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say feel it, like you just feel that something's right here. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't impede me in any way. It just kind of is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind
Jeff,
of,
we have talked extensively about that there are some times when the days just, when the day just keeps running on and on and on, it seems like they go forever. And then after a while, you're just unable to keep, focused on everything.
Yeah, for sure, man. By the way, Alex, well done, man. I only know one other person. I've only ever met one other person that even is associated with Chiari malformation, and that is I met this guy, and then his daughter actually has it. So and so I'm impressed, man. Keep up the good work. That's awesome. I'm like baffled. I'm like, what do you mean no pain? Is that even legal? What's going on?
I definitely got very lucky with the surgeon that helped me out. Did a great job.
Yeah, you did. That's awesome. I mean, I have a question though. So that is open back there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just the skin is over it, but basically, and you still wrestled with after the surgery that they removed part of your skull, and you still wrestle.
So the neurosurgeon that did my surgery and I talked a lot. We were very close, and he was very clear that it was entirely my decision. He recommended against it, but also kind of wanted to see how it went. So, and he said that there's no direct negative impact, but it's still, brain surgery, contact sport, never a good idea to mix the two.
Not usually.
I kind of went with it. Yeah, and it ended up turning out okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember pulling up on my neurologist, pulling up to her office the first time I met my now long-term neurologist. And I rode up on my motorcycle, and she just,
everybody's got a thing. Up until about 3 years ago was the first time I ever wore a helmet. So, so everybody's got something that that the doctor probably goes, that's probably not a good idea. You want to stop that immediately. So how are any of us still here, right? Oh,
Melissa, did you have any questions or?
I'm just, Alex, you're so brave, first of all. It's just a blessing that you're able to share this with people. I find it so incredible that, sometimes we go through things and we're feeling things and we're just going with the daily and thinking that it's normal until one day, you get this diagnosis. And, like you said, you thought it was normal. You thought it was just a part of you. And so, I'm thankful that you were able to get that checked out and fixed. And I just kudos to you, the bravery you have to say, you know what, I don't care if there's not enough case studies, let's do this. That just shows how much faith you have, and your testimony is incredible just to share it with everybody. So, I'm happy that, you're here to tell and to bring this awareness. So thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Let me ask you this question. How much of your diagnosis and how much of what you went through leads into your studies?
It directly inspired it. I initially, when I got to school, was not psychology. I was pre-med neuroscience, and that was 100%, because of what happened with my head. Before I started at college, I did like a Columbia neuroscience program that was sort of the testing the water of whether or not I wanted to get into neuroscience. And then when I got to school, I realized, this is a little too much biology for me. This is not sort of the type of thing that I want to do for the rest of my life. And that's where psychology became a very easy segment. So the two, I feel like, are very connected, and it's kind of inspired the career path not the career path I'm going to end up in, because I'm in insurance right now, but the end goal is not to stay in insurance for the rest of my life. I do love Aflac. I love the mission. I love sort of what we do there. I want to use it as a stepping stone to get me to be able to open a clinical practice as a psychologist. And I think, the brain surgery was very directly why I kind of got inspired to do that kind of thing.
Was there anything in the during the biology, was there anything that you learned that you were like, whoa, holy crap, this could have been, that kind of scared you or put you back? Or was it just the whole biology thing altogether that made you go, yeah, no, thank you?
It's the strictly memorizational part of it that just isn't for me. I personally, just operate really well face-to-face talking, and then when I'm thinking, problem solving and biology, and even when you start looking at what career paths am I going to go into, neurosurgery, pediatric neurosurgery was sort of what I was looking at. And a lot of that is hands-on issues with, a brain. I feel like I don't know if I'm the type of person that can do that. And I said to myself, is sort of neuroscience something that I can realistically see myself finishing? And I said no. And I said, psychology is sort of what I can see myself doing. Conversations, helping people in that way is what I see myself doing for the rest of my life. So it kind of became, the right choice for me.
Alex, do you ever have conversations with other people who are dealing or with head injuries? And what is the first thing that you like to try to do? What's the first thing you would like to tell somebody if you meet?
After learning sort of what was going on, thought nobody in the world has what I have, and nobody knows sort of what I'm going through. So therefore I should just shut up and deal with it. And that was definitely the wrong approach, because, at some point when I started talking to my family, my friends about it, it just, the responses that I got and the, attentiveness and, oh, let's take you to a doctor. Let's make sure you're okay. Let's do everything in our power to help. When you make your issues known to people, it is genuinely incredible what they'll do for you. And sort of just being open about your experiences with the people that care about you, I think is incredibly important.
Man, you know, you're you're an inspirational kid. So I'm glad I made the mistake and we started to talk about this, because we could get you on here, because I think that you talking to the younger generation, I can talk to old guys because, well, I am an old guy. Jeff can talk to the people who are younger because, well, he's a little younger than an old guy. You, of course, can talk to the younger people, and then Melissa gets to talk to all the beautiful people. So, but look, I love the fact that you were able to do what you do, and you do it with the strength that you do it, and you're very energetic and you're very excited about it. I mean, what are some of the things that you still enjoy doing that may be a little tricky?
Do you mean like tricky because of everything with this, or?
Yeah. Do you have any challenges on anything?
I mean, honestly, it's gotten to a point, like I said before, where after a long day, like I can feel it. It really hasn't impeded me. Like I do a little bit of jujitsu now just because I'm not wrestling anymore. I mean, other than that, I don't really have a ton of physical activity stuff that I do. But I do AFLAC. I love AFLAC. My life is very wake up, go to classes for a couple of hours, switch off from that to AFLAC. After that, go back to classes. My day finishes probably from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then there's not really a ton of time to do stuff. So, right now I'm on spring break. That's why I'm up in Vermont. I love reading. I love sort of being up in Vermont, being on a lake, looking out at the view. Right now you can't see it because it's dark, but the majority of it's really not negatively impacting my life anymore. And I think that that's amazing to be able to say.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to go through Vermont. That is very beautiful country. Melissa?
Yeah. No comment. Just, just love hearing your story. It's incredible. And I'm happy that you're able to come on and share this. And like Zach said, people your age need to hear these things, I'm just so happy to hear it all. People need to know. So it's good that you're doing and just you're strong, you have no issues. Like, it's a blessing. It's incredible. They absolutely need to share this more and just open that clinic, open what you're going to do, everything you say you're going to do, and do it. And I could see you going far with it. So, bless you in your endeavors, and I hope you really do make it out there and spread this awareness. So good for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, Melissa, let's switch focus onto you real quick, because I'm very intrigued. What do you want to get into when it comes to? I know that you've got the heart for Alzheimer's because of your family.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that you wanted to get into doing nonprofiting, and look, you're talking to a couple people here that we all love that nonprofit world, but we also know it can eat you alive at times. So, what are you wanting to do with the nonprofits?
Well, something similar to what Alex, is doing right now, just bringing awareness. For me, that has obesity, that has, diabetes and all this, I have decided at a very young age that I wanted to make that change for myself and for my future family. And, now, just seeing, how ever since COVID, I feel like we were stuck in a bubble for so long, and there's so many of us just struggling to try, to climb back up that ladder. And if my dream is to start a nonprofit someday where I can help women, young women, like myself when I was younger, and bring awareness to so many topics, because I feel that all of this starts with your mindset, with being aware. And when you bring awareness to yourself, you roll different in life and you make better choices. So if I can help, align people with, with those simple steps, but steps that need consistency in life to become a better version of yourself. And I feel that nonprofits such as these, with all of us, that's what we do. We're trying to bring awareness and help people grow, help people, excel, succeed, or even if they need help in certain areas. So, I don't know how that will come about, but I know it's going to happen for me. So,
well, I'll tell you exactly how it's going to come about. You just keep working at it, and you're going to do it. I mean, look, you've got a couple of people here that'll definitely try to keep you accountable and make sure that you're doing what you want to do. I know in which we are going to be replaying the episode of Footprints Forward as soon as this show ends here in about an hour. And it was a lady who got into, and get this, Alex, she wanted to get into like the medical field, but when it came to dealing with a corpse, she passed out. And she was like, okay, this isn't me. This isn't what I want to do. But she saw herself getting into and something that, Jeff, you're going to know a lot about. Alex, you probably know something about, and Melissa. But she got into clinical trials, and she found out how segregated and unfair clinical trials can be, and they've started a program to try to better that. It's a very interesting conversation, and I would definitely ask everybody to check it out, because it was an extremely interesting conversation. There was so much that I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know that it was, and one of the questions I asked him is, and maybe I would like to hear your guys' opinions on this, but there's a lot of ailments like COVID that attacks people with darker skin, people of different ethnics, people of color, people of brown and black skin, yet they had fewer members in those trials. What do we need to do to stop something like that from happening? And especially, Jeff, when it's coming to something like, maybe they find this miracle treatment for hydro. Alex, have you ever had anything to deal with anything like that, or any experience with it?
So on a personal level, no, but within my family, yes. I don't, my father has ALS, and with clinical trials, there's 50% of the people in a clinical trial get, a drug that has been tested a little bit and has the potential to really help. The other 50% get a placebo and have no idea that they're receiving a placebo and receiving no help for the first, 2 years, which is the most fundamental and important period of time during a clinical trial, or just having a disease like that. So there's definitely a better way to go about it. There's definitely things that need to be changed and improved about just clinical trials in general. I don't have the answers of how to do that. I think when you're I don't really know. I think that they're.
Well, let me ask you this, Alex. You and put on your psychological brain here. Do you think utilizing the placebo effect, is that a good thing to do to somebody?
I think the placebo effect is a necessary scientific, when you're the whole point of a clinical trial is that you're looking at everything through a scientific lens. But I think that there needs to be